Have you ever gone to your wine rack and looked at all your selection of wines? You have the Cabs, the Merlots, the Zinfandels, the Rosés, or the rare Petit Syrah. You see a red Zinfandel, you grab it, pop the cork, pour it into a glass, and then smell the aromas it gives, and then you give it a sip. And then you ask yourself a question: what was the process of making this wine? Today I will be informing you about the process of winemaking. To explain this process, I will focus on three main points. First, I will explain the harvesting and crushing of the grapes. Second, the fermenting of the grape juice. And third, the bottling of the wine. First, I'll explain to you the harvesting and crushing process. Harvesting of the grapes consists of two components: what to harvest and when to harvest. Choosing the variety of grapes depending on what you want: a red wine, white wine, or rosé. According to the Wine Cellar Insider, in California there are more than 60 different varieties of grapes used for winemaking. The best time to harvest is when the sugar content is the highest or the grapes are ripe. According to the California Department of Food and Agriculture crop report, there were 4.24 million tons of grapes harvested in 2018. Here's a picture of some people harvesting grapes. Grape crushing is done with a machine called a destemmer. This machine separates the grapes from the stems and crushes the grapes. The grape seeds give off a flavor and color to the wine, but the stems only give the wine an acidic taste. Here's a picture of a destemmer. This is a small production destemmer. There are big ones and small ones. Now that I told you about the harvesting and crushing process, I will go into the fermenting of the grape juice. In the process of fermenting, the grape juice is turned into wine. There are two parts of the fermenting process. In the first fermentation, yeast is added to the skin and juice of the grapes. The yeast turns the sugar into alcohol. Wines range from 8 to 14% alcohol content, depending on if you want a sweet wine or a red high alcohol content wine, or a dessert wine which has lower sugar content. This is the first fermenting process. You just put the grapes inside a container. The second part of fermenting the wine is placed in carboys or barrels. The fermentation is also called the aging process. SO2 tablets are added to the wine so that the wine does not spoil. This process can take from 6 months all the way to 6 years, depending on how aged you want the wine. Here's a picture of the carboys that I use, and then right here we have a picture of there's a winery in Livermore. Now that I told you about the fermentation process, I'll tell you about the bottling process. Bottles are disinfected. Bottles pass through the filler where the bottles are filled and the corks and corked. Each bottle is checked to have the same amount of wine in the filler machine. Automatic bottling has helped to lower the cost of labor because they used to do it all by hand and now they use machines. At the Wente Winery in Livermore, they bottle 2,500 cases of wine, or 30,000 bottles per day. Now that I have explained to you the harvesting and crushing of the grapes, the fermenting of the grape juice, and the bottling process, so next time you are sipping wine on an evening dinner, remember how wine is made, and you will be able to inform someone else about how wine is made. Thank you.